guys, this is Automotive Anonymous, and that is a 23 Custom TrailBoss, and today I'm going to review it for you guys. It's in a color I like to call white. It looks very bold and aggressive, about as bold and aggressive as a stock Silverado can come, maybe minus the ZR2. But this Custom TrailBoss is actually the third of the 9 trim levels for this model year, and today we're going to find out if it's worth your time and money, or if you should leave it at the lot, maybe consider a different trim level, or a different model from a different manufacturer altogether, like the F-150 Tremor, or the Ram Rebel that this competes against. And I do want to say big thanks to the Twin Falls Chevrolet for letting me borrow it for the day. Otherwise, guys, we're going to dive right in so that you can decide what to do. But I do want to mention, if you're new to my channel, I've reviewed a lot of other 2023 Silverados for this year, including an LZO 3-liter diesel TrailBoss. And so you guys probably know I like Silverados, and I like the TrailBoss specifically. But what's kind of crazy is the Silverado nameplate is already in the 4th generation that started in 2019. Meanwhile, the Sierra equivalent is in the 5th generation already. A base work truck for 2023 starts about $36,000, which is pretty crazy because that's also only a 2-wheel drive configuration. But the base TrailBoss Custom is about 52 grand once you factor in options, the biggest one being that 5.3 Ecotec V8 that this one has. You're closer to 57,000 on the window sticker. This one specifically is asked about 4 grand under sticker, so whatever you do, do not pay sticker or absolutely not markup on a Silverado. No matter how good that front end looks, don't pay over sticker. Find a dealer that's going to take care of you. And then the Custom TrailBoss, not to be confused with the LT TrailBoss, includes a few things such as these 33-inch Bridgestone tires. You get a 2-inch factory suspension lift. Keep in mind, not all suspension is created equal. This is more of a basic lift. That's going to give it that off-road appearance, 10.9 inches of ground clearance. And then the little goodies that come with that Z71 package. This crew cab is roughly 19 feet long, about 7 feet wide, 6.5 feet tall. The wheelbase right there is about 12 feet. So then, weighing 5,000 pounds, it's going to be pretty well planted on the road. The bed length is about 6 feet. The max payload capacity, which means how much weight can you put in the bed, but also in the cabin, is roughly 2,000 pounds, where this has the V8. You can tow about 9,000 pounds. As mentioned, nearly 11 inches of ground clearance makes it pretty substantial. And then that final drive ratio on this specific one is a 323. But depending on which setup you have, whether you have the 2.7 liter 4-cylinder turbo, the LZO like I reviewed, or this 5.3, there's going to be a little bit of variation to those numbers. Otherwise, it does a full circle in about 46 feet, maybe a little bit more. It is a full-size truck. It's pretty big, but it's fairly agile for what it is. And these are actually a 5-star crash test rated vehicle overall. They have a lot of features, but not so many on this Custom. You're gonna have to go to a higher trim level like an LT, LTZ, High Country, things like that, to get more features like all the adaptive cruise control, the heads-up display, all the pedestrian braking, things like that. But what you do get is a 24-gallon gas tank and a rating of 16 city, 20 highway with this 5.3 liter. That means your road trips are going to be up for about 480 miles between pit stops, which is a pretty good time in the Silverado. Just a few last things to mention before we hop out of the wind is, if you guys like red tow hooks, functional aero on this refresh, or just aggressive looking Silverados with hood bulges in general, please consider liking this video to help it get shared. Otherwise, we're gonna get inside and out of the wind. I do want to mention though, you have remote start even on the Custom. Chevy's trying to take care of you, and if the battery dies, you can pull the hidden key out of there where the key ring is, pop it in the door, and access the cabin that way. The door panel is all pretty soft touch black, easy to clean materials. They're comfortable. It's an actual armrest. It's fairly wide. You have a good sized handle, all your buttons, your locks, and then the double bottle holder with a full-size door pocket, which you guys know I like. A named speaker. Really nice running board on this specific setup, and the black accents everywhere just look really good. A tiny bit of grip if you had to get up to the roof of your truck. And then power options for the cloth seats. They look good, they're comfortable. The bolstering is not aggressive at all, so it's going to fit a lot of body types and different sizes. Floor mats not installed, rubberized pedals, OBD2 port, hood release, electronic parking brake, 4x4 trailer options, and lighting with a little bit of windshield stock action on the left of the wheel. Sitting inside the TrailBoss is a really cool place to be because you got a big, nice view of the bulge, the A-pillar handle, and there's just plenty of room everywhere. But we're gonna fire it up with the push button start. The needles are slow to respond, and then they do a little bit of a dance. You have the basic heads-up display there. That's just lighting for what the adaptive cruise sees. but it's not the fancy system like you get on some of the other Silverados. Otherwise, Chevy knows how to design a good truck. There's fantastic visibility, comfort throughout. There's the 6 o'clock handle, which I love on the wheel. Decent sounding horn. It does sound louder in person and the tone is decent. And Android Auto, Apple CarPlay with a pretty good camera that has trajectory lines that move, so not too bad. Most of the Silverados, you can even leave the camera on while you're cruising down the road, which I like. Otherwise, here are your options, all the physical buttons for HVAC. You have traction control hazards, the tailgate drop, auto start stop. We're gonna turn that off right now. And then your plugins, your 12 volt, and then your household style outlet with the ground. Otherwise, there's plenty of legroom down here for when you have a 6-passenger, and when you don't, you have some storage right there. There's also a handle, little grab tab right there to drop it. Enjoy your cup holders, your snack storage, maybe put your phone up there, and then a little bit more right in the center. Otherwise, nothing fancy on the mirror, no auto dimming features, no, you know, backup camera mirror, things like that. OnStar settings, your lighting up top. And you know what, guys? I think it's time to turn it off and hop in the back seat. The back seat door panel is basically the same type of materials. Nice big door pocket, bottle holder, unnamed speaker. Everything you basically want. Nice armrest right there and a good sized handle. Otherwise, you can go from the running step, the running board, up to the little baby sized amount of grip you get right there. Again, cloth mats not installed yet. And then there's the big bench seat. It's easy to lift, the 60 split. You have some storage and all of your tire changing equipment down there. Easy to drop. And then there's not the hidden storage in the back seats on the periphery on each side like you might get on a different Silverado. But there's a B pillar handle. We're gonna pull ourselves up, sitting all the way back. I have basically half of my forearm down to my fingertip of room, so I have plenty of room to stretch out from where I sit as the driver. It's pretty nice, especially getting to be a backseat driver with that map pocket. Otherwise, the cabin on full-size Silverado crew cabs is ginormous. You have a lot of cool things, but you only get ventilation back here. You don't get any plugins or anything. And there's also no center armrest. So what gives Chevy? I guess you got to go a little bit higher up than the Custom to get that sort of feature. But now that we're behind the Silverado and it has those USB styled exhaust tips, doesn't it look pretty dang good? You can unlock the bed with the remote, with the button inside, or with the button right here, and then it is a soft touch to lower. This one does not have the bed liner yet, but it does have lighting on the ends. It has 3 tie downs on each side. They're rated for 1,200 pounds a piece. And then you have the household style outlet right there. So it's pretty decent. And then the bed lifts pretty light. On the passenger side, rear door panel, really nothing to see here that you haven't already seen. You still get the B-pillar handle, you get the map pocket for another backseat driver, and then you get the 40 split, which lifts a little bit easier than the other side, and there is your jack. So there's your options. Let's come around to the shotgun seat. When you're riding shotgun in the Silverado, you get a slightly bigger door pocket. Again, 2 bottle holders, only your 1 button right there and your locks. They don't want the passenger to have too much control, I suppose. And then that running board follows. Again, just barely any grip right there. Mat's not installed yet. You can see it's roughly $4 grand below sticker. And then manual adjustments again for the cloth seats, but they're comfortable. The backpack's safe, because again, 5-star crash test, baby. And then a nonchalant, non-hidden upper glove box. The fancier models have a button right on the side that pops that open. There's not an obvious handle. And then locking glove box if you want to use the key in your remote. Adequately sized, but there's no plugins in there. But I guess we can live with that. Let's come around to the front. Let's pop the hood and let's see what that Ecotec 5.3 liter V8 looks like in this configuration. Under the hood, you actually have to stand pretty tall to see what's going on. You have the 5.3, it makes 355 horsepower at 5,600 RPM and 383 pound-feet of torque at 4,000 RPM. If you need more torque than that, get the LZO diesel. Or if you want more power than this, you can always consider supercharging it. You can't get the 6.2 in the Custom TrailBoss. You have to go to LT TrailBoss if you want that option. But the 5.3 is honestly really good. And then under the hood, you also have the battery on the passenger side, reservoirs on the driver's side, air filter in the box, ducting, baffling to quiet it down, upper intake manifold, exhaust manifolds on each side, oil fill over there. And it's just overall a really good platform. It is connected to the 10-speed automatic, which is the one you want when you're going Silverado. But it's time to drop the hood, take it for a drive. It's time for my favorite part. We're gonna take it on the road and we're gonna see how it drives. Then we'll do that 0 to 60 and final thoughts. Initial driving impressions of this truck. That's really fun. It feels like a modern version of an old school truck. Look how little all these other cars look. Look at how low those roof lines look when you're sitting up this high. It honestly feels really fun driving it. Just be aware that when you go around a corner, you're gonna have to slow down because trucks have quite a bit of body roll. It feels very comfortable though with those 33-inch wheels, the 12-foot wheelbase, and all that sidewall that the Bridgestone provides. It's very squishy and it just absorbs a lot of the bumps on the road. Granted, these are not very aggressive roads that we're currently on, but I could imagine a similar feeling on a gravel road, or if you're gonna be off-roading, taking your TrailBoss to the trails. Anyways, visibility is fantastic. In trucks, you can see the dimensions of it quite well. Those side mirrors are really good. And even with the length of this cabin, the rear view mirror goes right to the end of it. Speaking of the cabin, it's freaking huge. It's a really cool place to be. You have a lot of storage and you could just feel at home sitting in here for long commutes up to, I guess, that 480 miles before you have to stop. The brakes are pretty good because this can tow almost twice its weight. Those brakes have to be pretty good from the factory. There's a little bit of give before you can start to feel them kick in, and then the more you push, the more you slow down. Acceleration is pretty good. You don't have to get it on it very well for that 10 speed to know what its job is. We have a little bit of slow traffic up ahead. We're going quite a bit under the speed limit. But at this speed, even with the wind that you guys heard outside, the cabin is quite well insulated for only being a custom. Road noise seems really good. These all-terrain aggressive tires are not very loud, as sometimes they can be. They can sometimes pick up bigger rocks and kick them up underneath the body. Honestly, it does a pretty good job in this. The armrest comfort is fantastic. Same with the center armrest when the 6th seat is down. And then all the physical buttons and controls are easy to get to. I like all the plugins that you get on Silverados. Having Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, is fantastic because those systems are usually quite a bit better than what the manufacturers come up with. And then the manufacturer systems go out of date within like 2 years, if that even, whereas software can always be updated. So that's pretty cool. We're gonna give it a little bit of gas from a 40 roll. And for being at almost a mile above sea level, density altitude equivalent today, it gets up to speed pretty darn good. I will say the speakers in here are not fantastic, but because the cabin is so well insulated, they sound really good. And then I mentioned the seat bolstering earlier. You can see our backpack is still in place, still very content. And I'm feeling pretty good too. I'm 5'11", but I'm sure you could be 7 feet tall driving a Chevy Silverado. But I know what you guys are waiting for. You want to see how fast it is, 0 to 60. So we're going to teleport to our private road and I'll bring that to you guys. 0 to 60 today is at about 4,500 feet of density altitude. That means that this vehicle is down on power roughly 16%. I have it in 4 auto, so it won't waste power actively turning all 4 wheels unless we detect slip and then traction control's turned off. I'll verbalize the true 0 to 60 and then I'll post a GPS graph right after without the foot rollout the way it's rated, and we'll see what it can do. True 0 to 60 came in at 8.05 seconds, which given our elements, that's really not too bad. Let's get to our final thoughts. My final thoughts of the Custom TrailBoss is it's a lot of Silverado, but I wish the price tag wasn't what it was. I wish these were in the mid 40s, maybe not the mid 50s, but it's a lot of truck, and it's what trucks used to be like. It's factory lifted, so you're not out of warranty. You don't have to do it yourself to get 33-inch tires and 11 inches of ground clearance. It has not a lot of extra options, so not a lot of things that potentially are creature comforts now, but things that could go wrong down the road. It's just a basic truck. Gets 20 miles per gallon on the highway if you're conservative. It still has halogen headlights, a really aggressive front end, and the black and white color scheme with those red hooks looks fantastic in person. I think a lot of us, when we see a TrailBoss on the road, we look at it maybe first to see if it's actually a ZR2. Usually it's not. but still we admire it because their stance, their position, they look fantastic and I like it. What do you guys think though? Would you consider it? Is it better than the Rebel or the Tremor? That's a good question. You'd have to put this maybe in the LT trim level to compare it against those. But if you're looking to save a few pennies and you just want this truck for truck purposes, absolutely consider it. Always test drive one. Let me know in the comments, do you own one? Do you want one? What are your thoughts and opinions? And if you like my video, please consider liking my video. But also, if you want to see more of my stuff or if you appreciate my style, please subscribe and follow along. I do a few videos a week. And of course, giant shout out to this fantastic dealer. I'll link the vehicle below if you're interested. Otherwise, you guys have a fantastic rest of your day. See ya.